Where is it? Okay, there we go. What does the firefighter of the future look like? What demographic are we looking for within our service, and how do we achieve that?
Thank you. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. So I think the firefighter of the future is probably gonna be a little more tech savvy than I was just in that moment. I think that we're going to see, we're not seeing as much time spent on trades necessarily early on in life, but more so on tech and, some of the other items that are kind of more common now. I do think as far as demographics go, that it's important that we reflect our community, and that's going to look different for my community as it might for Dave's community and other people that are joined today. I think that it's important that leadership takes a good hard reflection at what that looks like and identifies out, obviously you don't have many communities that are made up 100% of all women or 100% of all men. And so that's just one aspect to it. It's important to look at the different cultures and the different representations that you have throughout your community and ensure that your workforce is matching that to some degree. There isn't necessarily a hard number out there, I think, that we can throw out that says it should look like this, but it's going to be different within each community. As far as what we can do, I think first you have to ensure that the culture of your organization is welcoming. It's not going to be a very fun process for people coming in that may be different in whatever respect if they aren't feeling as if they are part of the organization. And additionally, I think it's also important to look at how you're painting the picture of what your organization looks like. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to do some recruitment and retention work with a larger organization, and they had a strong period of time between hiring one female firefighter to the next. It was 12 to 15 years. And the youngest female firefighter that was coming in had made comment that when she looked at the organization, she kind of reviewed them online a bit, which is a lot of how our future firefighters and current firefighters that are coming in kind of review their new workplace potential. She looked at them and she found that there weren't very many pictures of women performing the job or women within the fire organization. And that wasn't the case. They had several women that had been hired kind of mid-90s and still worked for the organization, though they didn't necessarily market themselves as, maybe being welcome to people coming in that didn't fit the traditional style of pictures that they were displaying on their social media. So, certainly marketing on social media seems to be a very common tool to use, but also kind of review the communities within your organization that you're wanting to tap into and you're wanting to connect with, and get to know whether there's a community group you can connect with and go meet with, or maybe they have events that you could attend, and just try to do some unique recruiting, if you will, depending on what the demographic of your community looks like.
And there we are, back to tech. Thank God I caught the mute. Great points, Amy, and really great points by everybody so far. I'm incredibly heartened by this. And Amy, frankly, you stole a bit of my thunder in stating that the future firefighter needs to be more representative of the community. I couldn't agree more. Shara had mentioned something that it wasn't that long ago. I believe she had said it wasn't that long ago. It was 92% male, and of that, it was 83% white. So it was a white male occupation. And I hope we eventually get to the question about whether or not we're communicating. That's one of the future questions: communicating the changes within the fire service to the public at large, because I think that can be addressed. That white male stereotype can be addressed in that question. My answer to Rob, thanks for the question, Rob. It's a great question, obviously. What does a future firefighter look like? Number one, representative of the community, which is a challenge. I'm going to jump right into how to achieve it. I recently had a lengthy conversation with some of the recruiting factions for a large Canadian city, and they're very active in the community, very robust community outreach programs. It's not so much that they're not putting effort behind trying to achieve, trying to move forward in this whole idea of change towards diversity, equality, and inclusion. It's that their community outreach programs are falling short. There's a disconnect between what we're saying as the fire service and what cultures are hearing. The reality is, we're becoming more and more global as a culture, right? The world is getting smaller, and consequently, we're not speaking only to the classroom of kids where it's the young boys are sitting there in their desk with the the wide-eyed wonder, and the girls are, and I do say that because that's the way we thought about it. I don't agree with that now. They would be just sitting there. Maybe there was one, two that are thinking that might be a possibility for me, but all of that was just a few years ago. Not so much now, right? Now we've got all these communities coming in, which here in Canada, and I would like to think around the world to a great extent, we embrace. In Canada, we have a fantastic Asian community, East Indian community, and the entire spectrum of the world is at our door, and we're talking to them, and their idea of what a firefighter is different than what our traditional idea of a firefighter is. So we're not bridging that gap. And so in order to achieve that future firefighter being representative of the community, I think that's one of the areas that needs to be addressed. The second part of my answer is actually entirely different. I feel that the typical firefighter today is reaching critical mass. What the general public wants us to do as responders, very much here in North America. I would love to hear insights from around the world, but especially in the States, EMS is a huge portion, and then you get into all the rescue disciplines, auto-X, hazmat, high angle, low angle, switch water, open water, on and on it goes, and we're expected to be not just competent, we're expected to have a level of proficiency in all of those, as well as maintain all of our projects within the station, community outreach, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we're reaching critical mass. And so I think the future firefighter might not be this leviathan, this octopus that is trying so hard to achieve proficiency in all these disciplines. I would like to see a greater division of disciplines within the fire service. Of course, I'm sure that the chiefs on deck here are already scratching their heads thinking, well, where the heck would the money come for something like that? Because that just means more staffing, more apparatus, et cetera, et cetera. How do we achieve that? I'm not really sure. I think that might be a bit more of a crystal ball answer. However, I do think that's important because eventually, by hitting that critical mass of not being able to be proficient in all of these disciplines, I think we're going to start failing our citizens a little bit. We just can't do it all, and we're getting very close to being expected to do it all. So, thanks, Rob.